welcome back, Bionicle boys and bros, to another week, another enriching learning experience of Bionicle story time. So today, we're going to be finishing up kind of where we left off last time on the 10th book in Bionicle Adventures, Time Trap. And as a brief recap of everything that has happened thus far, since Chris was not here last time and I have no idea if he actually did his homework or not.
I didn't have internet for a week because we got hit by a Category 2 hurricane.
Excuses. Man, I can't believe this guy. So, as a quick recap, the Toa Metro have escaped Metro Nui and found their island home of Mata Nui, where they've all kind of found where their new places are going to be. The 6 Toa Metro have created brand new Toa stones in the event that they ever need to make more Toa. So, you know, that's how they make Toa now. Just give them a little magic stone. They'll put their little thingy right up to the stone and we'll drill a little energy.
Like a Pokey, that's how we made crackheads too.
So after that, they decide to find a return path to Metro Nui. They encounter a bunch of horribly mutated beasts, including the Rocky Nui from way, way, way back in Bionicle Chronicle Book 4, Tales of Masks. In which case, beats the bejesus out of the Toa Metro and fatally poisons Toa Metro Vakama and Nuju manage to defeat it. They find the Karzani plant, which offers it a cure for Nokama on the condition it brings it some energized protodermis. They go deeper in the case, find one of Makuta's lairs. There's an energized protodermis pool. Turns out it's alive and is a condescending asshole. And so the Toa Metro fight it. They get a little scoop of the energized silver liquid.
Scoop diddy whoop.
Scoop diddy whoop. Whoopity scoop. And just
Copyright.
so
Too accurate.
right? Oh, man. Listen, man. If I can get these Bionicle Yeezys, like, that would be, like, Nike's, like, missing out now. We need to get something going on. Anyway, give the energized protodermis to the Karzani plant, which goes, "Hey, Lamau, you did it. I'll heal your friend and drink this up and become on fire." And it kills the Karzani plant because it thought it would give it more power or whatever. So the Toa Metro chop up its roots and bodies and make a sailboat out of it. Head back to Metro Nui where they find it's invaded by horrible spiders. And then they get mutated by said horrible spiders. And then there's little mini, like, Rakshi Taraga called Rahaga, and they're looking for the key to Nangu. And it's going to heal them, I guess, but maybe it doesn't exist. And the Rahaga warns Toa too. And meanwhile, you've got King Simperak, who is the King Simp. And then you've got his viceroy, Ruthada, who is Queen Thought. And they completely try to undermine each other all the entire time because King Simperak just, "Well, I really want you to be more than just friends. You could be more than my viceroy, you could be my queen." Tovakama, who is mutated beyond horrible belief right now, kind of goes batshit for a bit and goes crazy and turns into a villain. And Rudaka is like, "Hey, yo, dude, I'll give you some Bionicle booty." And there were Bionicle boobies made on this set. Once again, I cannot. It's so weird. Anyway, Tovakama goes on with them, betrays the Toa Metro, who have been transforming the Hordika. They find the key to Nangu. They all decide they're going to go fight Vakama and the spider hordes of Vizrak. They do this. They defeat the spiders. The key to Nangu sends Simperak to Horny Jail and smashes him, destroys him, and kills him in one hit. Rudaka goes, "Hey, Lamau, I'm still winning. The Vizrak listen to me." Vakama was like, "Hey, no, the Vizrak actually listen to me because Simp guy said so." And he's like, "Get out of here, spider boys." And the spiders all leave. And then they all fire their elemental Rotuka spinners, because that's how they do energy now, at Rudaka and, yes, Chris.
Did they make toys out of this?
Yes, they did, Chris. Yes, they did. I'm so glad. I'm so glad you asked. Yes, they made. Yes, Zach.
Do you have one to show us?
Sure.
We did last week.
We did last week.
We talked about this is review.
Here's the key to Nangu. This is all review. And he just, he's got a little, how does this thing work?
It's like Bumblebee.
Yeah, he has a little bit. Also, I think I mentioned it before, but they made this horrible shade of orange called Keat Orange. It's notorious for being terrible. Yeah, remember that guy there?
Now I remember.
How does this thing work? I'm trying to remember. Oh,
Man,
is it
for
this
an
thing?
expert, you really don't know how to play with Bionicle.
Dude, if I friggin' know where I... Yes.
So which Tonka toy does that one transform into? Is it a bulldozer?
Frick.
No, he's obviously a wrecking ball.
Oh, that's how it works. All right, I'm dumb. So this part comes out here, and then it flaps open, and then you just
I'll catch it.
pull this, and I figure out where this goes.
Can you find the hole, bud?
Yeah, what the frick?
Sounds like prom night.
That's what I was.
Big rips all around on
I
my
remember
part.
prom night.
When I shoot a spinning disc out of my chest.
Hey.
So hot.
Oh, there we go. I forgot he goes, he does the thing and he lunges forward a little bit, and then you just take this little thing here and you go, Rudy Tooty, Cowboy Shooty!
Ah, it killed me.
That is just like prom night.
Alright, so, now that that's over and everything, so the Kitanangu decides it's gonna help, so they fire their elemental spinners at Rudaka, destroys the little crystal thing she had in her chest plate that she took from Makuta's prison, and Makuta is free again. And the Toa Metru get turned back to their regular selves. They gather up all the Matoran in the little spears, and they're gonna take them home by airboat, by blimps. Which led us back to Time Trappers, Book 10, where, for as far as we caught up there, Vakama goes, hey guys, I know we're going to be going home now, but before we do, I'm going to go get another thing. And they're like, oh, what did you forget? And they're like, oh, you know, just nothing important, just the Mask of Time. We can't leave that around. Like, it's in the ocean somewhere, but we can't leave Bakuda to find that. So they all leave off. Nuju is now speaking in clicks and whistles, because he does bird talk now, like when he learned from, he was mutated. See back on the previous episode and you'll
I thought it was one of the Rahaga.
Yeah, the Rahaga did, but he taught Nuju too, and that's why Nuju does now. So, Vakama goes and digs underwater, dives underwater, I guess, finds the Mask of Time. The Mask of Time is now orange instead of gold, like how it originally was, which, interesting point on that. So, the Mask of Time was originally going to be released in the Bionicle PC game for Year 1, Quest for Matanui, which never came out. So you were to get one of these cool orange Kanohi Vahi Masks of Time. Oh, very interesting. Except that game never came out. So they had no way to get out, and just some Toys R Us would give them out sometimes, which is a thing. Later on, because they like reprinting sets and getting you to buy them again, certain exclusive marked packages of Vaki would come with these little orange discs that were the discs of time that Vakama used to make Mask of Time, including a little gold Mask of Time. So that was the best thing there. So now it's orange, because it's been sitting under the sea for a little bit, and it's got a little weird. And it's cracked, and it's rippling out time energies and making things exist for only a brief minute and living out their entire lives. Vakama does a little undersea welding and fixes the mask. And then grabs the mask and starts to swim back up and gets bonked on the head. And he's out for a little bit. All of a sudden, Vakama's back, and he believes he's a Matoran. And this is really weird, because why is he a Matoran? He was a Toa. And then all of a sudden, you know, Metronui's never fell and was destroyed. Also, as a quick reminder, in the previous books, we found out that apparently the Toa Metru were not actually intended to be the new Toa. It was all the little shit starters that were going around, little asshole Koliball guy, who's a traitor, a little Matoran that they had to help get the Great Discs. Apparently those guys were supposed to be the actual Toa. And in this universe, apparently, they are the Toa. And Vakama very quickly starts to realize that something's not quite right, but he has all these memories of things that happened, but just things don't seem to link right or together. And all of a sudden, the Dark Hunters start coming out. The Shadow One, leader of the Dark Hunters, has been joined by Sentrak, which is his murder pet, to go find what happened to Nadiki and Kreka, because he sent them to Metronui and they haven't come back yet, which is very concerning for him because that means they died. Which he doesn't really care about Nadiki, who is a traitorous ex-Toa. Weird for this four-legged crab man. And Kreka, who's just dumb and powerful, but really, really dumb. But as per the code of the Dark Hunters, if somebody kills Dark Hunter, they must die. And so he has decided he is going to personally go to the city of Metro Nui and rain hellfire down and give people a reason to fear the Dark Hunters again. Additionally, while there, Bohrok-Kal, which is a being that is made of time anomalies who can sense other time fluctuations in the universe, is at Metro Nui, whose specific purpose was created in case a mask of time was ever created, he would be able to find it. And wouldn't you know it, there's a mask of time in Metro Nui. And that's where he is. He kicks Vakama off a little cliff before he went into the dream sequence and grabs the mask. So he's going to take that back to the Shadowed. The Shadowed One and Sentrak get onto Metro Nui, and they see Toa Vakama is walking around in like this trance state. And, you know, Shadowed One's like, I've seen this before. Can't break the body, break the mind. Good job, good job. Like, this must be one of the Toa that killed Nadiki and Kreka. We won't have to deal with them. But we'll see where he's going. And we'll figure that out. Because walking beside him is a Bohrok-Kal, one of the blue Visorak spiders. Weird. Why would a Visorak be walking with Toa Vakama? It sure is weird. Leads away all the way. Vakama is in this dream as a Matoran, and he winds up going to one of the Makuta's lairs in Pometru and finds exactly where it's going to be hidden away there, and is able to like attack the Trogalakan and what he believes is the Matoran Nokama, and yeets a disc at them, and it phases through them, and because they weren't actually there to begin with, his belief of this illusion dissipates, and so he is brought back to reality, and this brings us back to where we stopped last time. So, Vakama wakes up out of this trance, and who is standing before him but fucking Makuta. Big bad boy Makuta is there. He's like, Vakama. You broke out of the illusion. That's alright. So where's that mask of time? I really need it. I really need that mask of time, my boy. And Vakama is like, are you kidding me, bud? And so they start, spitting a little back and forth. They start swinging some blows. Vakama's actually doing pretty good. He's keeping up with Makuta, big bad boy. And it is at this point that Vakama says, I don't have the mask of time. The Bohrok-Kal does. And Makuta kind of loses it for a moment. He's like, oh, no, that is not okay. Bohrok-Kal has it. That means the Dark Hunters are going to have it. And that's a problem for me. I can't. No. So Vakama, you're going to help me get back the mask of time. Vakama is in the position of, you can literally kill me right now. I hate you both. You're telling me that if I don't help you, the Dark Hunters are going to get the mask of time? I hate both you guys. So why does it matter to me who I hate the most has this mask? And Makuta kind of, spits back and forth, and one thing leads to another, and because they're talking about, he's like, look, Makuta, he's like, I could raw dog you right now and throw you to the ground and beat you. I did it before. And Makuta's like, see, here's the thing, bud. When I originally absorbed Nadiki, Kreka, and Miwok, I was a little bit, you know what? Yeah, you had a little bit of a one-up on me because I was dealing with absorbing all of their consciousness. In words you can understand, I disagreed with something I ate. So I was a little preoccupied, but it's all settled now. All settled in the tummy, Vakama, so keep talking, and you'll get rocking. So they decide, okay, enough's enough. We need to get this mask of time, no matter what. Because the Dark Hunter Brotherhood, having the mask of time, it's not good. That's not good at all. That's the reason Vakama stayed behind in the first place, was to get the mask. So, they start leaving out of the cave. And the Bohrok-Kal is sitting in the canyon waiting for them. And Makuta goes, all right, Vakama, you're up. And he's like, why me? He's like, oh, you see, the Bohrok-Kal is a pawn. And I think pawns should fight pawns, so you're up. Vakama's like, piece of shit. So Vakama starts throwing some fireballs, as Toa of Fire do. And as they are about to hit the Bohrok-Kal, they just dissipate into nothing. He just keeps throwing a bit more, and he's like, I don't understand what's happening. And Makuta goes, all right, look, watch this. So Makuta picks up a boulder and just chucks it at the Bohrok-Kal, and the boulder is closer and closer and closer, and it just, once about it gets 3 feet away from the Bohrok-Kal, just turns into dust. He goes, Vakama, that's the Bohrok-Kal. He's a being of time. He has a natural shield he can set up that anything that gets too close of him just accelerates in time into nothingness. Watch this. So he sends the little spider Bohrok-Kal to come out, because they went through a different way than they came in. Sends out the spider, and the spider runs up, tries to attack the Bohrok-Kal, it immediately turns into nothing. Like, just gets vaporized. And you're like, all right, well, how are we going to deal with that? And he's like, send more pawns. And it is at this point the Makuta just gives a little click, and 2,000 rock sheet start pouring out of the canyon side. Yes, Jason.
Specifically 2,000?
I believe it is specifically about 2,000 rock sheet.
Specifically or about?
Specifically.
But I just
We're
wondering,
gonna
you
fact check
counted, right?
Okay, go ahead.
This might be fake news. guys.
Okay.
Hey, can you pull up your source?
It is multiple thousand.
Okay.
Multiple thousand confirmed.
Good enough.
Backtrack.
Rock sheet start just walking up. They're gonna go and they're gonna go fight the. Yes, Jason.
Don't the Rockshi actually have like dummy good powers?
The Rock sheet do have dummy good powers. Here's the reason why, digheads. So the rock sheets, as we learned from way back, are made from Makuta's essence. They contain some of his power. Makuta has 42 of these magic, awesome, spectacular powers, of which we have seen so far: darkness, Rahi control, weather control, laser vision, heat vision, poison, fear, anger, strength, absorption, disintegration, fragmentation, and
like a gravity power?
I can't remember about gravity one. I actually don't know if that's one of them, but I think so. I know
Or is that
I
one
know
of the
chain.
Bohrok-Kal?
I know that was Bohrok-Kal, but I know chain lightning. Makuta's got chain lightning. Shit's hype. Yes, Chris.
Alright, now follow me on this one.
I'm following.
Okay. So they're made of Makuta's essence.
Correct.
So that technically means that they're his children?
Correct. They refer to them as the sons of Makuta.
Okay, so that means by essence, do we mean like his powers, or do we mean by like Makuta's essence?
Okay. Okay. So this is a good point of contention. One,
Well,
nobody.
Prana do look suspiciously shaped.
You see one of those little slugs coming out, you're like, ooh, baby.
That's a bonk.
Ooh. First you get the honk, then you get the bonk.
Yikes.
Big old yikes.
Love doesn't exist.
But love doesn't exist. So nobody actually knows where Rockshi come from. They just know they exist. But in world lore is that Makuta created the Rockshi out of himself. Remember, they just makes the Krata, which are like the little slug things, and sticks it into a suit of Rockshi armor. That then takes on the ability that the Krata has. Each one of those powers is one of the 42 different powers that the Makuta can have. And there is some debate about whether, oh, well, when the Makuta gives it to that, he actually loses that power for himself until the Krata dies. I don't believe this is true on the grounds that there's 2,000 fucking rock sheep. Approximately. Multi-thousand confirmed. More than 1,000.
Survey show.
Survey show, yeah. Coming towards the Bohrok. Yes, Jason.
Who makes the Rockshi armor?
Who does make the Rockshi armor? Good question, Jason. We'll get there.
Really?
We will. We will get there.
Okay.
It's going to be a while, but I promise you that there is an answer.
I was only half of a shitpost answer.
Oh, no. That's the problem with Bionicle. It's like for every half shitpost answer a question you have, there is a super legitimate answer.
Right.
And for every serious question you have, there's like only maybe half of an actual answer.
Alright, cool.
Like Greg Farshi answers more shitpost questions than actual real, like, these are important questions. So
Is love real? Who makes the Rockshi armor?
Well,
I'd love to hear.
Are those slugs? Or are they
So all these Rockshi are just going in wave after wave up to the Voporak, and Voporak just isn't moving because the Rockshi armor just all starts disintegrating as soon as it gets in with like 4 feet of it, and then the Krata all just disintegrate and die. And Bakama's just watching this as like hundreds of Rockshi are just being destroyed. And he looks at Makuta, he's like, if you had this army the entire time, why didn't you use this to take over Metro Nui? And his answer is rather a little bit big brain. He goes, if I did that, the Rockshi would have destroyed the city, and I would have no city to rule. Which is like, fair point. Because remember, at this point, Makuta's plan was to put the Matoran into the spheres and have the spheres wipe their memories so that he could wake them up and be like, I am your new big brain god. I have saved you from these metal hunks of fear. Worship me as your new deity. Matanui sucks a chode. So anyway, they're like, all right, well, what do we do? Makuta goes, we leave and we go find the Mask of Time. Because we're not staying here for this. Why are you so small-brained, Vakama? Yes.
I thought you said that this creature had the Mask of Time.
It did. It has handed it over to the Shadowed One by this point.
Why?
Because the Shadowed One is its master.
But if it's a creature of time, and then it gets the Mask of Time, couldn't it become the master?
Yes, but at the same time, the Voparak has complete allegiance and only minor awareness.
So like allegiance to a fault.
It's allegiance to the Shadowed One specifically, but only a little bit of awareness. To make a quick thing as a side note, the Voparak is actually the original king of Sidorak's species that he offered up to the Dark Hunters to have them do a bunch of weird experiments and stuff on. And they made him, and they turned him, and they mutated him into this weird being that can sense temporal distortions. But he is the original king of whatever King Sidorak's species was. Because remember, King Sidorak is only really good at one thing, and that's taking the credit for other people's greatness. So it's a little fun fact for you there. So they're like, well, Voparak is here, which means it was here to come to kill us as we were coming out of the cave. So that means the Shadowed One already has the Mask of Time, and he's not here, so we need to go. Vakama, and they're like, okay, well, where are we gonna go? And they're like, all right, we'll go to the Great Temple. That sounds about as just as great a place as ever that we could go, because it's right by the sea gates that exit the city. So off they go to the Great Temple, and they sneak in, and Makuta's like, all right, Vakama, this is where we split ways. I got a business meeting to get to. Go get that mask. And Vakama's like, cheeky shit. So he goes in, and there, lo and behold, in front of him is the Centrak, which is the Shadowed One's murder pet, which immediately starts duking out with Vakama. And it goes like this really like, there's no real reason why Vakama should win in this fight, other than he has acclimated so much really specific experience by this point. There's one point where the Centrak goes and shoots him with he shoots him in like this like shield of like darkness that Vakama can't see out of, or he covers him in it. And so what Vakama does is, because they're going a little bit back and forth, Vakama uses it is like, you know what, I spent a lot of time as like a half Rahi, so I can hear really good if I focus and just like this doesn't even faze me. So he can hear where the Centrak is. He uses his mask of invisibility to turn himself invisible, and the Centrak goes, where the fuck did he go? What is this? And Vakama, up in the corner on the side, there's a little vials because they're in Gametru. As a quick side note, I really understated what the Gamatoran did. I said before they were all just like teachers and they just went to school and they didn't really do much else. They were also fishers, but the more important thing they did is they were responsible for all of Matoran's science and book learning for a reason.
I thought that was the Komatoran.
No, the Komatoran only do like theoretical prophecies. Like here's the difference.
So it's like wisdom versus intelligence.
Gamatoran are like particle physicists, and like Pomatoran are like structural engineers. You have Tomatoran, which are just like general trade craftsmen. You have Lamatoran, who are like transportation engineers. And then you have Onamatoran, they're like just archives. They're archives. So they're either like petting zoo, natural history museum. And then you have the Komatoran, which is just theoretical physicists. They just talk about like what could be.
So
they're like
more
and also-
philosophers?
/ astrologists.
Oh, okay.
Yes, which actually does have a purpose in this universe, unlike real life. Nuclear hot takes here.
They just go around town asking what people's signs are.
Yeah, more or less. Look, have you seen where the red star is?
No, they don't. They don't go around asking people signs because they fucking hate being
Bothered by people. They stay-
Exactly.
stay
I'm
to
glad
themselves.
somebody's fucking listening.
So we just lost a couple viewers.
I know.
Unfortunately.
It's all right. They'll come back later. They'll forget about it. Their sign will change, and they'll say something. So up in the corner. Oh, hey, look. There's those vials that look exactly like the energized protoderma stuff that we got before. I'm gonna shoot my disc at it. Falls down. Energized protoderma starts setting fire to stuff. Sentrak freaks out.
Vakama does this?
Yes.
But he can't. But he's blind.
He is, but his hearing is so good.
He can hear the vials of protoderm.
He saw where they were before.
Oh, okay.
And he was like, okay, cool. And does that. One thing leads to another. Vakama kind of gets thrown through a wall with the Sentrak. And outside there, Kitangu had shown up to see, and Makuta is there. And Makuta said, square up. And Kitangu said, or whatever Kitangu would say, because he doesn't speak the Torin language. And they start duking it out. And he's beating Makuta pretty good. He's going ham. He's like, dude, fuck this dude. I'm going to beat him up. Makuta welds his Rotuka Spitter gate thing on his chest shut, and then kind of trashes him and throws him off a cliff. Vakama comes out at this point, runs over, grabs Kitangu, pulls him up just in time for the Shadowed One to walk up and go, oh, it's the great Makuta. Anatoa. Listen, Makuta, I don't know what business this Toa has with you, but I need his head. Because I sent 2 Dark Hunters here for you, and they're not here. So, obviously, this Toa must have been the one to do it. So I'm going to need to kill him. Makuta goes, no sweat off my back, man. You can have him. No worries. But we need that mask back. We need that mask of time. I know that you have it. I need the mask of time, please. The Dark, and at this point, like, this is very becoming like 2 heads of like the most horrible, evil organizations in the entire Matoran universe are just squaring up and just talking shit. And the Shadowed One goes, yeah, well, see, that's the thing, is that I had to come out here actually myself, personally. I didn't send somebody else here. I had to make the trip myself to figure out where my Dark Hunters are. And, you know, that cost me a great deal of time and effort to make sure I could do it. So the least that I can get out of this inconvenience, especially because you were the one who hired the Dark Hunters, and you didn't protect them or anything, which, you know, it's whatever. But the least I can get for my compensation is this Mask of Time. So I'm going to be taking it with me. At which point, Makuta goes, see, that's why I have a little bit of a problem with that, because, fuck you. Your wishes and desires, they are literally nothing to me. I don't care about any of them. I do not care about you. You're nothing more than an insignificant flea before me, so give me the mask. And you can have this Toa, you can kill him, whatever, I don't care. He is not, whatever, you can have it. At this point, Vakama's like, yo, fuck this, man. Like, they're both just fighting, and he goes, hey, Shadowed One, I don't know who you are, but anything look familiar about on Makuta over here? Which, since Makuta had absorbed Nadiki and Kreka and Ewok, he had his armor had taken on some of the appearances of it. And you know, looking over here, the Shadowed One's like, hold up, wait a minute. That looks like Nadiki's Kreka armor. You absorbed them? You ate them? Makuta, you know this means war. Makuta goes, no problem, let's go. And so they start just duking it out. The Shadowed One shoots out like laser beams out of his eyes. Yes, Jason.
But the Shadowed One has the Mask of Time at this point.
Correct.
So he doesn't just decide to just...
This is a dangerous prospect, once again, because you have to have enough experience and enough of a strong mind to know, to actually make use of the Mask of Time.
Does the Shadowed One not have confidence in himself to do so?
I think the Shadowed One is not willing to take that bet against Makuta. Because Makuta is really powerful. Once again, the two big groups right now that Vakama's having to worry about is the Brotherhood of Makuta, a super shadowy secret organization with Makuta at its head, and he is the leader of this mega organization, and the Dark Hunters, which are a more secretive, less known organization, but super turbo evil. The Dark Hunter Brotherhood, once again, is made up of like literally everyone and anyone. Matoran, horribly mutated people, ex-Toa, various different species, and all sorts of stuff. Like, it's a wide, like, literally, the rules of the Dark Hunter Guild is, if you join the Dark Hunters, you will take any job at all that is asked of you, if the price is right. You cannot leave the Dark Hunters. If you do, it's a death sentence. And if somebody kills a Dark Hunter, they must be killed. Like, those are the only 3 rules. Anything else goes. Anything goes. Murder, pillaging, destroying entire islands, anything goes. So these are like two megalo-mind asshole, like that actually have the power to back it up. So Shadow One shoots out I-beam lasers and burns the wings that Makuta now has off his body. Yes.
I had 3 questions.
Okay, question 1.
One, did they make a toy of Shadow?
They did make a toy of the Shadow One. The Shadow One is made of a combiner set between Rudaka and Kitangu.
Okay.
Next question.
Next question. Did they ever do a thing where it was like protodermis and inside the protodermis like a mask comes out or a disc comes out? Like, you know, like Nickelodeon Gack It? Did they ever do that?
Yeah, when the Toa Mata fell into the pools of energized protodermis and they came out of the Toa
I
Numa.
mean,
He's talking about
like an actual toy. Like, did they make a? Did they do
No, they did not. No.
Okay.
That would have been genius.
Missed opportunity.
But it also would have been really awful on the actual like plastic, maybe.
Well, yeah, but that doesn't stop from doing video vending machines.
Third question.
3.
Also, as an addendum to your first question, they did make a toy of Centrak. It's made out of Sidorak and Kitangu together, and they did make a toy of the Voparak, which is a combiner model made out of Rudaka, Sidorak, and Kitangu. There is no toy, there's no combiner model made up of Rudaka and Sidorak, though. Oh, I know. So part 3.
Part 3. Is there during this like peak moment, were there fans that made Rule 34 lore of them too instead of fighting?
I actually don't know that one. I don't. It's at this point it's 2005, so it's still pretty early days of the internet. Newgrounds is getting off around this point, so I don't. I'm not saying that I don't think it's a possibility. It's just I never heard of it around this time. Yes.
Okay, objectively better question. You have not put on display like any Makuta toys since the beginning of this lecture. How many different versions of Makuta have there been up to this point?
Okay,
Did they make a version of him that has like the Kreka and...
Okay, they did make a version of that, and that was a combiner model between Nadiki, Kreka, and Niwak in the Taraga Duma set, and you could make them all together into this set called Ultimate Doom, which was this like, it is the second tallest Bionicle combiner set. Some will say it's first because the wings go up really high, but if you don't count that, it's like the second tallest. It's like this freaking tall, man. It's wild.
Shit.
And the nice thing is it had like more like fingers and stuff on it. It was super neat. But it didn't come with a mask. There was a like Toys R Us exclusive version of it. They came with all 3 sets in one box, and they had exclusive little shadow Krakon that you could, different masks that you could put onto it, since none of them came with it. Yes, Tristan.
Why didn't you build it and bring it to show us?
Because
You're a bad host.
I know, I'm a terrible host. Part of it's because I'm actually missing some pieces for Niwak, and so I don't even know if I could get the entire build together. I will try and build it up and bring it here next time so I can show you the difference between Makuta and Ultimate Doom.
Ultimate Doom.
It's called Ultimate Doom. So we'll do that next time. I'll bring it here for you.
I want the biggest box.
Okay, we'll get to the biggest box.
So they're fighting?
Oh yeah, so they're fighting. Makuta just roars out in pain. He is like, "Oh, that man, you messed up now." All right, this is game time. Makuta starts just walking up. At this point, the Shadow One shoots out I-beams that create a protodermic prison around Makuta, and Makuta is just like, "The fuck is this pussy shit?" And just flex. He's like, "Yeah, protodermis held you in prison before with the Toa mate," and he's like, "Yeah," and flexes his muscles and just breaks the protodermis around him. And he starts walking up. The Shadow One's kind of like, oh.
So he's like, why Putin walk up?
Yeah, he's just like wide Putin walking up to the Shadow One, and the Shadow One hits him another beam, hits him in the chest. Makuta's like unfazed, keeps walking, and he's like, "You don't understand, Shadow One. You tried to put your own petty desires above mine. Me, the great Makuta, who is intrinsically more powerful and better than you in every single way. How dare you, you insignificant ant!" And just punches the Shadow One. He punches the Shadow One so hard that he flies. Because at this point too, you're thinking, okay, where's Centrak at? Where's the Voparak? Makuta already did some stuff, just got Centrak out. I think Centrak is still unconscious from respect for Makama. Voparak is like, "I'm time boy, I ain't gonna let this happen, I'm gonna come up." And Makuta is like, "Hey, El Mayo," and puts a vacuum seal around the Voparak's head, which you know, because normally you're like, okay, well, you know, anything that's gonna get thrown out, I'm just gonna time out. Vacuum space is don't have a time. Time doesn't affect vacuum space. And he just chokes him out from distance. He walks up to the Shadow One and he just boom, kicks the Shadowed One into the Voporak. And immediately upon doing this, the Voporak's defensive mechanism goes up. The Shadowed One ages 3,000 years in 1 second before he gets up. And the Shadowed One gets up. He's like, oh.
Oh, let's go!
Yes.
So age does actually affect Bohrok-Kal.
Age does actually affect Bionicles, and we will get a little bit into actually how time works in a second. I will give a little bit of a timeline once we get past this book. So Makuda's like, I don't have time for this. I'm out of here. All the while, Vakama has just been watching, and he's like, no. So Vakama straps his jetpack on, because his disc launcher works as jetpack, flies up.
Where's Kitongu?
Kitongu is off to the side. He is run off. And Vakama flies over, because Makuda's like, I have the Mask of Time. Vakama flies up and snatches it and flies off.
Good meme.
I can't remember, it's either the Shadow One or Makuda shoots laser eye beams at his jetpack, and it messes it up, and Vakama crash lands in Tametru. And the Shadow One gets up, he's like, oh, Makuda, he's like, you have insulted me this day. I hereby declare a war on you. I declare war on the Brotherhood of Makuda. It'll be a Dark Hunter versus Brotherhood of Makuda war. And Makuda's just like, I don't care. Why are you talking to me, you insignificant piece of filth? Do you want me to kick you again? Because at this point it's described that when the Shadow One stands up, he realizes, it said that he doesn't know how many years he has left to live. But he knows that he is certainly near his deathbed by how far his age has progressed, by being thrown into the Voporak. So he is like, I was like, no. I was like, you know what, Makuda, I'm out for now. I'll get you back later. Makuda's like, that's fine. Come back to me anytime. Come back anytime you want. Square up, and I will beat you to death again. Now I gotta go get a Mask of Time again. So, yes, Chris.
So I guess we probably won't find out, but I would imagine, why wouldn't he just have Time Spider? Why wouldn't he just do the same thing where he just kicks the Time Spider at Makuda? Would it affect Makuda the same way?
Presumably it would, but that would also, once again, the Voporak is unconscious at this point, and his defense mechanism is just an auto guard. Okay. So he'd have to figure out a way to wake him up and not get more aged. But theoretically you could, but then, you're also dealing with Makuda, who is just like, no, anything I throw at you will just vaporize? Cool, I'll just suffocate you. He's like, I don't care. Does not kill the Voporak. This is as a note. Does not kill any of them. Makuda goes, alright, I'm outie, 500, I gotta go get this mask. And flies off to Tametru, where he finds. He goes, Vakama, where you at, my boy? Where you at? Before this, also as a quick note, back when Vakama was looking around in Makuda's lair, he got hit with one of those Cortana, the little faceform masks, that jumped on his face and showed him visions of the future, where that first contest where somebody made a Toa of Sonics as their main OC Do Not Steal in the LEGO magazine. This is where they get put into the story. As a Toa of Sonics named Krakua, who is somewhere in the future as the lone Toa defending some fortress, and tells Vakama that he has to be willing to risk everything in the universe to win, and that the only way that Krakua will win in the future is if Vakama wins now. But even if Vakama loses, that's fine. And then disappears, because it's whatever. And anyway, so Vakama is digging around in Tametru. He's trying to find a place to hide his mask. And all of a sudden, he sees more vines, and he hears a voice. He goes, Vakama, what's going on, man? And he's like, I know that voice. It's the Karzani plant. How? How are you here? You died back over on the other island. How are you over here now? He goes, okay, so listen. Listen up, boy, smart guy. When you guys cut up my roots and made a boat out of me, thanks for that, by the way, and you traveled over here, your boat crashed, part of my roots were sustained by water and regrew into the plant that is me. And Vakama was like, dude, I don't have time for this. I don't have time to deal with you. Makuda's on the way. He's like, look, okay. Look, here's the thing, bud. He's like, I know everything that's gone on. I know Makuda's here. But I also know that you've been deceived. And Makama goes, yeah, I know I've been deceived. We found out we're not the original. We're not the ones who were supposed to be Toa. We are fighting against destiny by having been made Toa. This is not our destiny. And Karzani goes, in the event of everything you found, did you not once think that someone along the way had lied? And he goes, yes, of course. Makuta lied. Makuta read the stars and lied and planted the idea into Toa Lacan to make us the Toa instead of the others. And Karzani, the plant Karzani goes, no, there was one other person who lied. And Vakama's like, who? He goes, the stars. The stars lied. And Vakama's like, what are you talking about? He's like, so here's the rub. Montanui knew that Makuta was going to try and mess a lot of stuff up and was working against him. Montanui put up the wrong set of stars to make Makuta not want to pick those and instead end up pick the Matoran that Montanui wanted all along. Yes, Chris.
Montanui's the island, right?
Montanui is the Great Spirit. But there is an island named after him in his honor.
He's Makuta's brother.
Okay.
Right?
He's Makuta's brother.
My brain is like, oh yeah, the island was like, and we got new stars, boys.
Montanui is like their god. And then when they came to the new island, they named it after Montanui.
Okay.
Yes, Tristan.
I didn't sign up for no B-grade heist scheme bullshit.
We had the package the whole time.
Yeah.
So Montanui, Galaxy Brain confirmed.
Yes, Montanui, Galaxy Brain confirmed. There's a reason they consider him a deity. And this is also the first time that Vakama hears this, and he's like, in that moment, Vakama had heard of the many great and powerful ways that Montanui was so impressive and powerful and why they revered him, but this was the first time he actually saw it, like, firsthand, like, how big brain crazy Montanui was. That he had predicted and known that Makuta was going to try and betray him, and that he would try and pick a bunch of Matoran that would be not what Montanui willed the next Matoran to become Toa. So he put up a fake set of stars, so everyone would believe that those were the Toa that were supposed to be picked. Makuta would see those stars and go, no, not those guys. I'm gonna pick a bunch of Matoran who are really highly skilled, but are really horrible about having like wildly differing personalities, and there's no way they would ever be able to work well together. I'm gonna make them Toa. And that was Montanui's goal all along. Yes.
Not to step on your toes. Did they make a toy of Montanui?
Yes.
Because I want to know what it looks like.
Yes, they did make a toy of Montanui much, much, much later on.
We'll get
Okay.
And he just looks like the crab dog.
So Toa Vakama is like, how do you know all this? And Karzadi Plan's like, listen, I've been around a long, long time. Longer than you probably realize. And I've been in the city a long while. And while I was here, I met a member of a certain order that works for Montanui, who decided to pass on that information to me before they passed on. And Vakama's like, well, what else did they say? And the Karzani planet says, I'm a fire! Because Makuta comes in and laser beams the Karzani planet, kills it immediately, and goes, hey, Vakama! What's new here, bud? Where's that mask, man? And Toa Vakama is in the forest, so he's on like a conveyor, so he's standing next to a conveyor belt. So he runs off. He's in a conveyor belt room with a bunch of masks that were in production on the lines, and takes a hammer. And Makuta walks in, and on this line is like 5 masks and the Mask of Time. Vakama's got a hammer. Vakama's like, hey, what's up, man? Makuta's like, hey, Vakama, I need that mask. He goes, Makuta, did you know something really interesting about the Mask of Time is that when I found it, it was damaged. Makuta's like, what does that have to do with anything? He's like, well, as you know, since you know so much, if a Kanohi mask is damaged, it doesn't function properly. And guess what? The Kanohi Vahi still functions, even if it's broken. And Makuta's like, that's great. Give me the mask, and I will let you go. And Vakama's like, I don't know about that. I don't know what, you see what happens is, and smash, max a mash. It sure would be a shame if I broke the Kanohi Vahi. And Makuta goes, oh, listen, Vakama, quit kidding yourself. You're not going to smash another mask that's broken. Vakama goes, here's the thing, bud. If I break this mask, all of time will be destroyed. Time will loop endlessly in on itself. And you'll have to deal with can you even deal with that possibility of a world where time is ever going on, falling in and out of itself, and you're falling in with it? Makuta goes, yeah, that sounds fine. I can deal with it. Smack! Another mask is broken. Slowly counting down here. Until Vakama goes, are you sure about that, Makuta? Because how do you know that even if you kill me today, if I break this mask, some future me from the past won't come and avenge me then? And Makuta at this point is like starting, it's like that image where it's just like, and then all like the math symbols and stuff, because he's starting to calculate the risk on how fast he is if he could stop Vakama from breaking it, but also how he could deal with that possibility. He goes, Vakama, you wouldn't. Smack! Another mask is broken. There are 2 masks left. All right, Vakama, listen, I'm willing to deal. If you give me the mask, I will let you go. And I won't try and fight you, and you can get out of here. Smack! Nope, it's not going to work, Makuta. And Makuta goes, all right. I'm not going to give you anything. There's nothing you can do. I don't care. Vakama swings the hammer down with all of his might, and as he's about to hit it, Makuta goes, wait, stop. Okay, Vakama, what do you want? What do you want? What do you want for you to not do that? Vakama goes, here's the rub. I go. The mask comes with me. You stay here. And Makuta is like, Are you, how can you think you're really, that I would really let you deny it? And Makuta goes, I'm gonna do it. And he's like, no, wait. Okay, Vakama. What? And Vakama goes, all right, Vakama goes, I leave. The mask comes with me. You do not mess with any of the Rahaga or Kitongu. And I go. And you don't follow me. And Makuta is like, there's no way that you think that I actually will do this. Here's the rub, Vakama. I will let you go. I will let you take the Mask of Time with you. I will even not bother any of the Rahaga or this Kitongu, as long as they don't get in my way. And I will give you 1 year. 1 year, Vakama. I will let you go. And to that, and a year to that day, you can expect me coming. Vakama's like, how do I know that you won't betray me? Makuta's like, it's all part of the game. So Makuta leaves. Vakama takes the mask with him. And he makes his way back to the island of Motunui, where everyone is waiting for him with the Mask of Time. And this is where the end of the second movie actually picks up. Fine, because I remember they put it way at the end of there. Which is, Vakama and all the others round up all the Matoran spheres on the beach island of Motunui. And they start to open them, but the Matoran won't wake up. None of the Matoran will wake up. They don't know what to do about this. So they all kind of come to the idea that maybe giving them more Toa power, maybe that'll help. So they all place their hands on the orbs and start injecting some of their Toa power, and slowly they start awakening thousands of Matoran. In the process of this, by relinquishing all of their Toa power to awaken all of the Matoran, the Toa Metru then become the new Turaga. And that's how they became the Turaga. On the beach, there is a Matoran whose mask broke while he was out of the orb. And that Matoran was Jala. Takua comes up to Turaga Vakama and goes, hey, his mask broke. And Turaga Vakama comes up and gives Jala Toa Lakan's mask, which was also a great help, which he kept with him. So now Jala wears the mask, the Great Kenobi mask that Toa Lakan wore. So that was a really cool, little neat reveal there. And so the Turaga and the Matoran had a year to start setting up their villages, and a year to the day, Makuta starts sending Rahi to come and attack. And this went on for 1,000 years. This is known as the Dark Times. It went through 1,000 years until the Toa Mata finally arrived from the canisters onto the island of Motunui, bringing us all the way back to the beginning of the story. Questions before we continue?
Yeah, why didn't he just have the hammer out of the hand and be like, go find Makuta? Oh, 1 more year, baby.
Probably because he's a little weak babby Turaga now.
Oh.
And Makuta is big strong. Yes.
Are we going to learn where the Toa Mata came from?
Yes, we will. It's very much later on, though. So, this is the end of Book 10, Time Trap. As a quick note, Bohrok-Kal does not tell anyone this tale. It is just him recanting, him revisiting this memory in his mind as they are sailing to Metru Nui, where they arrive on the shores. All the Matoran arrive with Toa Nuva in the Turaga to see the Rahaga and Turaga Duma waiting for them. Yes?
Because he told everything else to him. Does he tell this to Tahu?
Does not tell this to anyone. Nobody knows the events of Time Trap except for Vakama, Makuta, the Shadow One, Voprak, and Sedrak. Nobody else in the world knows what this is. Even to the fact that nobody actually knows why because as this has gone on, because we are effectively about 1,000 years has passed, nobody knows why the Brotherhood of Makuta and the Dark Hunter Brotherhood have been fighting, because they've been at war for the past 1,000 years. Nobody knows why. So this finally leads us to where we can talk about new stuff. And this will bring us to 2006, where we have Metru Nui is done. We can finally stop talking about everything that happened in the past, talk about new stuff now. With this, the new things we're going to be looking at are the Paraka, the Toa Inika, and the quest for the Mask of Life. Yes, Chris.
What happened to Dark Hunter XXX? What happened to him?
Oh, they're still fighting people and stuff.
Oh, okay.
So, this is also the beginning of a new Bionicle book series. Since Adventures is done, Chronicles has been done, the new series, which is the last of the book series, is Bionicle Legends. And our beginning of this will start with the Island of Doom, where all the Toa Nuva and the Turaga and the Matoran have finally come back. Over the 1,000 years that they have been gone, a quick note on things. Basically, the Toa and all the events of like the Mask of Light and all that stuff, it took all place stuff that took over like years 1 through 3 took place in the course of the Matoran universe over the course of like 3 months. Like it was a very short time period.
Oh.
It was a very short time period. It was like 3 to 6 months.
The Toa Mata weren't even like regular Toa.
Yeah, they weren't even regular Toa for more than like a month. Like the events of like the first book where they fight Makuta the first time, that was like 2 weeks.
What?
Yeah, so this is where we get timescale stuff. Yes.
So these motherfuckers were over here like the time for knowing will come about something that happened 6 weeks ago?
No. So they're talking
1,000 years ago.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Got it.
But the course of that, they were like going all over the island finding masks and shit.
Yes.
They only did that only 3 months.
They're very athletic.
And fought the Bohrok and the Bohrok-Kal and did the whole Mask of Light thing. This is over the course of like 3 to 6 months, if I remember correctly. There was a little bit of a gap between the Bohrok-Kal coming and then the Mask of Light. I think it was like a month, where they just had a month of peace. Yes.
Do we ever see the thing that asks, what is the answer?
Oh, yes, the Tatarak. So we talked about that last time, where it got sent into the zone of shadows or whatever, with the Zyvon, or the Tatarak. Quick thing on that, apparently the question it was actually asking is, what is the answer, is how did it get there? What is the answer, because how did this Tatarak get where it was in Metru Nui? And we'll talk about that in a little bit. So, the Toa Nuva show up, and over the last 1,000 years, Turaga Duma and the Rahaga have been trying to slowly start to try and repair the city of Metru Nui. And they get there, and they get all the Matoran. As soon as they got on, they're like, all right, guys, we need to get everybody to their Metrus. We're going to start getting and rebuilding everything, because we need to get this place up and running again. So it's a group effort. While they do this, the Turaga are like, hey, Toa Nuva guys, we need to talk. So they bring the Toa Nuva over to all the original Turaga, including Turaga Duma. Turaga Duma says this. All right, you guys did good. Welcome back to Metru Nui. It's been a minute, hasn't it? But and they're like, Holly, the chronicler Holly is not there with them for this. But Takanuva is there, and they're like, also Takanuva, Toe of Light. That's really weird. Never seen one of those before. Good on you for being here too. Here's the rub. So you guys came all this way and defeated Makuta so you could awaken Mata Nui. And they're all like, yeah, we did. We got the masks, we got the Bohrok-Kal, Mask of Light, all that. We're going to awaken Mata Nui. And they're like, so listen, here's the rub. Mata Nui isn't just asleep. And to awaken him is going to take a lot of effort. And one of the big steps is rebuilding Metru Nui. But the bigger issue is that Turaga Nuju and I have been looking at the stars and looking at prophecies, and dim few as are in the sky, all signs point that Mata Nui is dying. He's not just asleep, he is dying. And there's only one way that we can save him, because if he dies, the universe goes with it. There's only one way we can save him, and that is a legendary artifact known as the Mask of Life. And the Toa Nuva are like, alright, that doesn't sound like any issue at all for us. We've already done so much, we're pretty super strong and buff and great, and we're good friends, and we're all work together now, and we're all on the same team, so we'll go get this Mask of Life, no, easy peasy. How are we going to get there? Are we going to go by boats? I mean, we can buy boats over here, and they're like, no. You don't understand. You guys are going to have to go by something much more protective, because you're going to a place that's a lot more dangerous. And Takanuva is like, cool, so when do we all go? And they're like, Takanuva, you don't get to go. You don't get to go, little baby Takanuva, only been a Toa for like 10 minutes. You gotta stay here. Your job is to stay here and protect the Matoran in Metro Nui. The Toa Nuva... Matoran gang. The Toa Nuva will go to get the Mask of Life, and they descend underground into a chamber where there are, in a little body of water there, a bunch of canisters. Just like in the beginning, they're like, those look familiar, I'm not getting in those, guys. I remember what happened the last time we were in those is, our bodies just friggin' fell apart. And we lost all our memories. And Trago Doom was like, okay, well, look, so we talked about it, we looked at it, and apparently, here's the rub. It's not uncommon for Toa in the past to have traveled by these canisters. Because of this, it seemed your canisters have malfunctioned when they were originally sent to the island of Motunui, and because so much time had passed, you guys probably wasted away for 1,000 years in those canisters, and that's why your protodermic muscle and tissue kind of decomposed, and then when you were able to put yourself back together, it kind of rebuilt itself. So we shouldn't have any issues with these ones. And they're like, yeah, right. Here's the rub. So you say that we were shot from canisters to the island of Motunui, which is up, and then we went underground through the Mangaya lair, which is the Makuda's lair, and then over, and now we're in Metro Nui. So how does that, he's like, yeah, here's the thing, they would probably like ejected you up in like catapults or something, and it would have ejected you from whatever island you were originally at to there, so that's how you landed. They're like, yeah, because we were told that we fell from the stars, and it's like, yeah, that's a really good story to explain why giant canisters just fall out of the sky. I'm like, oh, yes, Chris.
Like those canisters?
Yes, exactly these canisters.
Oh,
exactly
no.
these ones. Same, they're just not broken this time. Time check.
2.5 minutes.
Okay, so the Toa Nuva all decide, all right, we're going to go, where are we going? They're like, you're going to the island of Boya Nui. It's a very dangerous island, and you're going to go there to find the Mask of Life. You're the only ones who can do this. Have that. So the Toa Nuva depart and get into their canisters, and they drift off. Takanuva goes back and is just walking around. Meanwhile, Jala, who has been resurrected once again, and some of the other Matoran are like, man, it sure is weird that the Toa Nuva aren't around, and it sure is weird that the Turaga won't tell anyone where they are. I think something's up. And he goes to Matoro, who is Turaga Nuju's interpreter, and he's like, hey, Matoro,
Sorry, this is a Matoran named Matoro?
yes, there is a Matoran named Matoro, who is the translator for Turaga Nuju. And he is also at all of these meetings and stuff. And he goes to Matoro and goes, hey, Matoro, where are the Toa Nuva? And why won't the Turaga tell us where they are? And Matoro goes, so here's the rub. On the one hand, I break a promise to never tell anything that I made to my Turaga. On the other side, I break a promise to be truthful to my friends. You can see the predicament I'm in right now. And Jala goes, all right, I got you. No worries, I understand your thing. You don't have to tell me, because I know somebody who will tell me. And so we're going to go ahead and take a break here, and then get back to this. Ask on it. As is hood
That was
ornament.
fucking metal as shit.
That was metal as shit.
Am I supposed to be paying attention?
No, we're just...
Okay.
Hey, we have retroactively learned that he put the mask of Toa Lakan on.
Yeah, we did learn that retroactively Takanuva put the mask of Toa Lakan on his haunted bike made out of the parts of the deceased rock.
But actually, it was actually the mask
triple
of,
haunted.
yeah, it was the mask of two dead Bionicles.
Two dead Matoran, well, Turagas, whatever. So that it's triple haunted now. Look at that.
Oh,
Look at that.
Also, I just didn't want this in the episode. If you ever fucking ask him if they made a tour of it again.
I said I didn't want to
Don't
step on your
you
toes.
ever.
I wanted to know, you know? You were
You're
going
sitting
through
in
that.
Messenger. You're sitting in Messenger, and I ask it.
You don't look at Messenger. We just found that out.
Oh, they just got you. He's got you there.
Also, I didn't tell you this, but this is gonna stay in the video.
We started recording again.
Well, fuck it. We'll settle in the Bionicle War.
All right, so
1,000-year-long Bionicle.
there we go. Endless war.
I love it.
Speaking of which, where is the Bionicle War profiteering island? Which one is that? The answer is it's Saya. You weren't here for this last time, but I'll briefly mention it. So Radaka, big bonk titty demon girl, whatever, member of the Vortex species. She comes from the island of Zaya, or Gia, whatever the crap it's called. It's XIA. And their whole trade is just in weapons dealing. So they are absolutely the war profiteering island. But anyway, so moving back. So Jolly goes, yeah, you know what? Don't worry about Matora. I know you can't tell me what the Turaga said, but I know someone who can't keep a secret. So he's like, yo, Takanuva! My best boy, my bro, my guy, my bro mud. Takanuva's like, yo, what's up? Jala? How's it hanging? Jala's like, so listen, I got this little question, a little problem. See, I think you can help me with this or whatever. Since you're a Toa now, I think, and you know, I kind of died before. And I think you could probably help me out a little bit. Takanuva's like, yeah, sure, man, what's going on? He's like, where are the Toa Nuva? Why won't anyone tell us? And he's like,
The time for knowing will come.
I am.
He's like,
the
all
Toa-
right,
I am
he's
the
like, all
Toa
right, Jala, okay, here's the deal. Here's the deal. Toa Nuva have to go and find a mask of life on some foreign island, and that's all they're gonna do. And they're like, why didn't you go? I was like, I don't know, man. They told me that I had to stay here and protect the Matoran or whatever. Jala's like, I don't like the rub of this. I think there's still more going on. Why do they need to go find some new mask? Didn't they just find another one? You had the Mask of Life. Like, we had a Mask of Light. And then, you know, we learned about the Kanohi Vahi, the Mask of Time we had and all that stuff. And because once again, all the Matoran have learned all these tales by listening in. And they're all kind of like, wow, that is really weird. We don't remember any of that. Because one of the big things was, originally, the Matoran did awake from the spheres with their memories. But after like 3-4 years, their minds just kind of completely wiped. And so they remembered nothing about what happened in Metro New Era, nothing else. Also, quick little note. So while Makuta was digging around in Tovakama's mind back in Time Trap, he found that there was one little Matoran that got left behind. Remember back in like book 5 or whatever, when they lost one of the Matoran spheres underwater? Oh yeah, where did that lead up? Well, it turns out the Matoran in there was a little one known as Benedict Ockmau, who is hanging out in his orb that he got left in, quietly like semi-awake, going, where are the Toa? Where are they gonna come help me? I've only betrayed and traitor. Yes, Jason.
That fucker Ockmau's name is Benedict?
No, but instead of like Benedict Arnold, it's Benedict Ockmau. Like he's a traitor. Like, that was the joke. No, it's fine. It's not fine.
I still don't know what you're referencing, but...
That's unfortunate. Everybody in this room just like kind of died a little bit. Really don't know about Benedict Arnold? Jason?
He was the
Doesn't ring a bell.
He was a traitor?
The American Revolution.
He was the
He
traitor,
was
bro.
yeah.
He was like the big traitor.
The big traitor.
This is important.
This is important.
He made the lies about Washington's wooden teeth, right?
Yeah, something
Yeah.
like that.
The second biggest backstabber in history is.
Yeah. So
The first is Judas, but technically it's good what Judas did.
Wait,
That's how the story had to go.
Judas wouldn't be a... Did you say history or American history?
This is
I
history.
said history.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, Jesus was part of it.
Didn't you know
Well, that's what I was having a
Didn't you
problem
know
with.
John Smith came to America, found the golden tablets to go and that Jesus?
That's a different lecture.
I want to learn about bonk history, man.
Bond history. All right, we're gonna learn about Bionicle Jesus. But no, that was Benedict Ockmau. That was the joke.
Fuck that Ockmau.
Yeah, fuck that dude. And Makuta went around and found him and woke him up. He's like, hey, dude, listen, I'm your new Lord and Savior, Makuta. I rescued you from the sphere of imprisonment that you were kind of asleep in, and you have no memory of anything to contradict this anyway. And these dirty, dirty Toa were the ones who imprisoned you here and abandoned you. So you should do it. So that is why Akmal is a traitor for the series. Not only because he only looked out for himself before, but now he believes Makuta is his deity.
But he was still a fucker before that. Right?
Yes, he was still a little shitheel before all of that.
He was selling the fucking.
Well, that was later on. That was in the.
Oh, yeah, true.
Yeah. But even in the past, he was still like, "Hey, Anawa, help me, Anawa! I'm falling, even though I'm working with the crab man, and I got up here by myself. And it's a trap."
The timeline is confusing.
It is a
We're
little
in a flashback for like
I know.
2 years.
Actually, specifically 2 years.
That was the most
2004 and 5. Yes.
Wait,
Chris.
so Montanui, big deity, big godly guy,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Makuta, brother of Montanui?
Yes, Makuta.
Why is Makuta not same strength, power
I
level
think we
as
just
him?
learned that he is.
Makuta is big. Makuta is big, strong.
Not like galactic strong though. He's like big strong boy, but not like I can change the fucking stars.
Because
Well,
not Toa Khan, but fucking what the hell is his fucking name?
which one is it? Which color?
The one who fucked him up in the movie.
Oh, Takanuva. Total of Light.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Takanuva fucked him up. So
Yeah. Honestly, it's probably just little brother syndrome or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Like they gave everything to like big boy Matanui, and they're like, "Here, Makuta, you can have a little shadow staff."
the
Have
Zeus
that-
and Hades.
It's just it's fair enough. Zeus and Hades.
Still Hugh Krillin, I get it.
Yeah, same difference.
That's a big difference.
I'm going with the Greek one.
So they're like, well, why are they going? It's like, okay, well, here's the rub. We're just gonna go on strike. I'm gonna get all the Matoran together, and we're just gonna go on strike. We're not gonna keep building anything until they want to tell us what's going on. So we are gonna go now to the island of Voya Nui, this new island, which is an absolute nightmare hell realm. It is a wasteland of an island, a tiny speck of dust in a sea filled with an active volcano constantly erupting. Horrible typhoons. The island surrounded by a wall of ice. Horrible. The Matoran that live them are deformed. They are like shrunken down. They all have little weapons. And they live a miserable existence just trying to eke out some sort of living. And one day, Garon, who is an Onu Matoran, was walking on the beach and he spies a giant canister here. What's that? He goes to inspect it, and out comes a giant red figure who's this hulking, red, powerful-looking guy. It comes out, and the Tauren goes, are you? Oh, you must be a Toa. I remember hearing legends of Toa. You must be a Toa. And the red figure smiles, this horrible, nasty, glow-in-the-dark smile. His eyes light up. And he goes, yes, I am Toa Hakan. That is me, small Matoran. And Garon is like, oh, great, you must be here. The other Toa are going to be coming, and you guys must be here to help solve all of our issues and help get us water and a whole bunch of stuff. And he goes, sure, pipe down a bit. What's that over there? And he goes, that's a herd of Kikanalo over there in that clearing. Normally, they're pretty docile for the most part, but it gets dangerous in a stampede. Hakan looks over there, points his lava rifle at them, and blows them all up. Destroys them all. And he goes, oh, why did you do that? He was like, they're blocking my view. And so, slowly, one by one, a few other canisters start showing up on the island with other weird, crazy, creepy guys coming out. And they're like, yes, we are Toa, including this one Toa named Zaktan. Now, Zaktan is a little odd because
Mean
when
thief.
Huh?
He's a little mean thief. Yeah.
Because when he speaks, there's just something unsettling. It's like there's hundreds of voices speaking, not just one when he speaks. And one of the Matoran, I believe it's Pyrrhic, is a lay Matoran, goes and wakes up. And yes.
Why do the names not fit anymore?
We'll get to this. One, it's because the naming conventions don't really make any more sense later on anyway. But this is also for another reason. And so Zaktan goes, hello there, Matoran. I am Toa Zaktan, here to help. And it's completely unsettles the Matoran. He's like, yeah, that's great. Listen, I'm going to go get some other Matoran to come. And he runs as far as he can because something is wrong. And he doesn't even sense that there is a shadow, almost like a mist, a green mist that just phases out in front of him and Zaktan reappears. Toa of Air Zaktan, here to help, Matoran. And so slowly you have all these weird, strong, monstrous beings with like laser vision and heat vision or heat vision rather, and they all have different. They're all big, bulking brutes, and they start talking to the Matoran about trying to figure out where they are and whatever. And they're like, hey, so you guys are here now. You guys can help us with something, And so one of them, Thok, the one in the white, asks one of the Matoran to tell him as much as he can about this island. He goes, okay, well, we live on the island of Voyanui, and a long, long time ago, there was this massive earthquake, it destroyed everything. We used to live, our island was part of a greater island, and after the earthquake, our island shot upwards through the sky and through the waves, and landed up here, and most of the other continent was left behind on us. And we had another little area on the island, and after a while, it just crumbled beneath the waves as well. And that's where our Turaga died. We don't have any Toa here. We've just been kind of here since. And Thok goes, that's an interesting story. And one that I don't believe for a minute. The only reason that you must all still be here is there must be some kind of treasure that you're hiding on this island. So tell me, little Matoran, where is this treasure? And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about, man. Like, I don't know. He's like, oh, no. Just tell Toa Thok, Toa of Ice Thok, where this treasure you're hiding is. And so the Matoran runs off, and slowly, these big dudes start meeting up, and they start talking to each other, and they're like, things aren't going as well as we expected. What is up with that? And like, well, this is Zaktan's idea. He's the one who said that we should all show up on the island in these canisters, and when we get here, tell everyone to pretend that we're Toa. And convince us, like, do I look like a Toa? I don't look like a Toa. I eat Toa, like, for breakfast. Like, I don't look like a Toa. He's like, I prefer something has a longer lifespan. And Zaktan comes up and he's like, all of you are stupid. Shut up. The plan would have worked fine if you would have just kept everything in line and not scared off the Matoran. They're like, you're one to talk, oh, weird imperialist leader. And Zaktan's like, you want to try that again? And they're like, yeah, I didn't say anything. Zaktan rules this group by fear. And the group is collectively known as the Paraka, which leads us to, when the Paraka first came out, there was, yes, Tristan, is this going to be what I'm talking about?
Oh, no, I was scratching.
Oh, okay. When they aired the commercial for this, because this is 2006, and the only thing that matches with alt-rock from 2005 better is hip-hop rap in alt-rock. And this is where we get the Paraka rap, where they advertise them with like, yo, Paraka! And it's really weird and cringe in the current year, but also kind of like, this is kind of fun and endearing, but also, wow, that was a weird time. They named the group the Paraka. Now, an interesting thing is, I guess we'll go over that later. We'll talk about it later. And so they're like, all right, we're here for the Mask of Life. We need to figure out where these Matoran are hiding the Mask of Life at. Once we get this Mask of Life, we can sell it, and we'll be able to become rich beyond our wildest dreams, yes.
Paraka, also known as Pirate Toa.
Yo-ho, Pirata! Stole that joke from me, not gonna lie. Yes, Tristan.
So they won't eat the Mask of Life and sell it.
Correct. They are thieves.
So there is a currency in Bionicle, and is there...
Yes, it's
class
widgets.
system?
The currency is widgets.
Do you actually live better if you have more?
It depends. It depends on what species you are.
Because it seems like everybody just kind of lives their roles.
Depends on what species you are.
Okay.
Matoran, yes.
You said that there were Matoran in the Dark Hunters.
Yeah, sure. Former Matoran, yeah.
So, I mean, I assume that, like, because you said that one of the 3 rules was that you'll accept any job if it's worth the pay. I assume the pay is widgets.
Yes, the pay is widgets. Or there might be some other currencies as well, but widgets is the known currency.
So are there, like, we know that there's no love in the Bionicle universe so far.
Are
so
you
far.
about to ask?
Oh my god, wait.
So what are they spending it on? Are they spending it on, like,
weapons. Sure.
Are there drugs canonically in the
Sure.
Bionicle universe?
Hallucinogens.
Bionicle
Weapons.
hookers.
New mask.
No,
Armor.
no love.
That's
Yes.
not
We
love.
don't
That's
know.
not love.
That's not love.
No
That's
physical
the
love.
first problem. You don't
That's
fall.
a rookie mistake.
You don't fall in love with the hookers, Jason. That's how they get you.
That's why they're called hookers.
I love you. Here's my widgets.
Yes, Zach.
So, what is the superior species in the Bionicle world?
What?
Whoa.
Okay. What? My opinion, the best species to be
Sure,
is
Taylor, your opinion.
okay.
The blonde, blue-eyed Bionicles.
The Galatorn, dude.
Technically, there are a group of Matoran that are blue and gold. So
Ah, there you go, my boys.
as close as we could, and they're also all women.
Well, then
Very
they'll-
progressive.
They're Matoran of psionics. Because as we'll start to get introduced, apparently there's a lot more different types of Matoran out there than the traditional 6 that we're aware of. There's Matoran of sonics, Matoran of gravity, Matoran of psionics, Matoran of plasma. No, there's no Matoran of love, unfortunately.
Matoran of lust.
Okay, there's none of those either. The only lust. Yes.
Are there British Matoran? Matoran of bro?
You didn't say which species was your favorite.
Oh,
Or you think is the
whatever
best
the
superior?
okay. There's a character we'll be getting to in a little bit. Whatever the hell Brutaka's species is, we'll get to that in a little bit. But he's like literally like you'll understand why I would go with this dude. He's literally the biggest big dick baller on this entire fucking island. So all of the Baraka start working with the Matoran and convincing them that they need to start digging out the volcano because they're like, well, volcanoes are a great place to hide treasure. I bet that's where they did it. So they convinced these Matoran to build them a stronghold and a fortress, and that they need this to defend the island on this stuff, completely ignoring whatever the Matoran are saying to them. Meanwhile, a few 6 Matoran all start kind of banding together, and they're like, something is really weird with these Toa. And they're like, have you ever seen a Toa before? And they're like, no, I've never seen a Toa before. But these guys, I don't think these are Toa. I was like, I don't know Toa that explode Kikanalo. Or, laser vision things. I don't think that's in the Toa kit. And they're like, something's weird here. So they start having some of the members kind of go around. The members of this Toa resistance are Garan, who is a leader of them. He's an Onumatoran. You have Dalu, who is the most fighty one of them, who is a Gamatoran. Cool thing, she carries these sonic swords or whatever, and it's crazy. It can amplify stuff. She has abilities, she can use them to amplify specific abilities of somebody else at the cost of her own stamina. You have Kazi, who is a Komatoran, who has very little patience. You have Velika, who is a Pomatoran, who exclusively speaks in riddles. And it's really annoying to Kazi, who friggin' hates riddles. Yes.
Or are these about to kill their new Toa?
No, they're not. And then you have, God, what is his name? Dalu. I can't remember his name. It's the red one. I can't remember his name off the top of my head right now. But he's a red swordy boy. And anyway, they're all getting together and like, something's weird with these Toa. And they're like, I think we need to spy on them and see what's kind of going on. So I think it's, so 3 of them get together. And they see that one of the Paraka, Avok, who is the brown one, is making some kind of new thing. Like, oh, what you making there? Is that some kind of new tool to help us? And he's like, yes, a new tool to help you. That's what I am making. He's like, oh, cool. Maybe you could. It looks really. What's that mechanism for? It kind of looks like a launcher. He's like, it's to help Matoran who ask too many questions to stop asking questions. And they're like, oh, and in fact, how long were you watching me? And as he starts, kind of talking to this one Matoran, 2 of the other steal whatever he was making and run off with it. They're making what will be known as the new big weapon thing, which are these Zamor launchers. You have a little ball and it just boom shoots out through these. And so now they're like, yeah, no, this is definitely the equivalent of a gun in Bionicle universe. They're making weapons. Why would they need weapons? There's nothing to fight on this island. There's no monsters or anything. Why would they need this unless they might use it on us? And they're all kind of oh, they're definitely going to use this on us. Yes.
They said this was a terror hellscape.
It is a terror hellscape.
But it's It's just a terror hellscape of
By-
environment.
Yeah, just the environment.
So there's no like crazy rock.
They're rocky, but rocky are like the least of the issues.
It's just a big volcanic.
This is a big volcano. Mount Valmai is an active, completely regularly active volcano. Horrible typhoons and like droughts ravage the island. Like it is a nightmare to live on. It is almost impossible. It is surprising that there are any Matoran living here as long as they have been. So they go, okay, well, so what's going on? It's like, well, they've got a lot of the Matoran, and they're like having them dig the side of the volcano out and dig ditches to drain the lava. And they kind of make a joke. It's like, it sounds like lava farming, which we finally know what lava farming actually is. They give us an idea of lava farming apparently is just the means of digging out trenches and ditches for lava excess to flow into and have like an escape route so it doesn't destroy other stuff. So apparently that's what lava farming is. That's one of the things that the Matoran did in Motunui, is if there was volcanoes, they would dig a bunch of stuff so that lava would have a chance to flow out and not explode. I don't know. Anyway, so they're like, something's really wrong here. At about this time, the Toamata finally arrive on the island. So a little bit before that though, let's see, the Zaktan finally goes, all right, boys, we've got these new Zamor weapons ready. Also, Avac, you friggin' idiot. How could you let these Matoran get around you? And they're like, oh, yeah, boss, listen, it's just a thing. It's not that. Oh, and a little interesting thing before this, Avac was going to inspect some of the new weapons, the finalized prototypes that he made. And Dalu goes and is hiding around the corner and starts using her abilities to enhance some images. And she super enhances Avac's ability to either see or hear. I can't remember. And it causes him to, like, as he gets near, to have like mental overloads. And he's like, oh, no, fuck that. And so then he eventually runs off and they steal a prototype of the finished Zamor launcher. And then Velika will later on cracks them up because he's an engineer. He's like, well, yeah, it's like, look, it's just a Matoran, it's whatever, we'll get him later. He's like, good. So, we're going to test out the new product. Bring in this Matoran. Balta, that's the name of the red Matoran from earlier. Balta, that's his name. This is not the Matoran they're bringing in. But they're bringing some Matoran in. We're like, oh, hey, what's up, Toa guys? What can we do for you? He's like, hold still. Points his Zamor launcher at him, has this green orb in it, and shoots it. Hits him. It's like this glass container, and then like the actual inside just kind of phases through the Matoran. And suddenly he goes limp. And then he stands back up, and his eyes just glow red. And like, okay, he's like, Matoran, throw yourself off that cliff. And Matoran starts walking over, straight up the cliff, and just jumps off, and then Zaktan grabs him, and he's like, good, we know these work. He's like, so we don't have to worry about getting the Matoran to like us and do stuff anymore. We're just going to go and have fun. Hey, Matoran, go get all the other Matoran, tell them to gather up in the village, and tell them we have a great announcement for them. And he's like, okay. So he goes up, all the Matoran are getting together, they're going to have some kind of festival, it's going to be for the Toa. The Toa aren't showing up, what's going on? These new Toa, where are they? Maybe they're lying. And all of a sudden, the Baraka close the gates, crack off their Zamor launchers, and just start firing, and just start like gunning down the entire Matoran population, which defense mechanism is for them to just pile closer together, and just, I guess, they're like, oh, I don't know what to do, I can't run away, I'm just going to pile up together, and the Baraka just gun them all down with these Zamor launchers and turn them into a large hive mind of unwilling slaves that are now back to them. He's like, cool, alright guys, go ahead and start digging up that volcano, keep digging on there. Except for the 6 Matoran that were thinking something was weird was going on. And they were like, I guess we're the resistance team now. What the frick? What do we do? And so they start thinking, it's like, all right, guys, we need to free the Matoran. It's like, but if we do this, like, there's a good chance that we'll all just die. Those guys are way too powerful. And they all just kind of come to agreement. They were like, even if we die here, we will make sure they know how strong we are. At the same time, the Toa Nuva finally arrive on the shores of Voyanui. Bust out of their canisters, and they're like, all right, everybody's here? Everybody's good? All right, let's start exploring the island. So they start walking up the island, the big bad Toa Nuva. And up on the horizon, one of the, I think Toa Tahu throws up like a fire blast or something. And some of the Paraka are like, oh, that's weird. That's a weird fire blast. I wonder what that is. And they all kind of go, must be Toa here after all. All right, let's go deal with them. So originally, you have Vizok, which is the blue one, and you have Raydok, which is the black one. They start going down. They start going to fight the Toa Nuva. You have Hakan, the red one too, and he starts showing up. And so initially, the Toa look at them and they go, "Hey, what are these guys looking down, coming in towards us? They don't look friendly. Guess we're gonna have to fight." And they all get ready for battle. And so 3 Paraka versus 6. Actually, it's 2 Paraka originally versus 6 Toa Nuva, and it goes very poorly for the Toa Nuva, who have just gotten on there. They don't know anything, whatever. And these guys are the Paraka are veteran Toa murderers. They are like the worst of the worst. In fact, the word Paraka in the Matoran language is almost a slur for someone who is like the worst of the worst kinds of murderer and thief. It is
Like a pariah?
it is. I'm trying to remember the phrasing of it, but it's like it's something to the effect that like a simple thief would break a lock to get into a building to steal something. A Paraka would burn down the entire town so that no one could ever report something missing.
Efficient.
Yes.
Wild card.
Wow. Yes. And so they start going down. Hakan goes to fight Toagali Nuva, who's like, all right, I'm just going to imprison you in water. And he's like, that's cool. How about this? And he starts sending mind blasts at Gali Nuva, who he blasts her unconscious. She falls to the ground. Tahu comes up and he starts fighting him. Zaktan sees what's going on and he goes, Toa, okay, here we go. And he starts running down and Zaktan goes and immediately throws the sword to Tahu Nuvi, and they start in a deadlock fighting each other. And they are literally, it's just they're just fighting each other, duking it out, sword fighting over here. On the side here, Raydok is fighting Toa Liwa Nuva, Onua Nuva, and Pohatu Nuva. At one point, Kopaka Nuva comes up and he's going to help. Avok shows up, the brown one, and just sets up a imprisoning wall of flame around, because he can set up prisons, around Kopaka Nuva. Kopaka Nuva is like, I don't care, it's just a little fire. Boom! Sends out a bunch of ice that immediately melts. He sends out more and more of his elemental energy to try and like get past this fire and just can't. Eventually passes out just from the heat. So we've got Gali Nuva passed out. She's not doing good. Tahu Nuva's not doing too well over here. He's kind of he gets knocked back a little bit, and then Kopaka Nuva is down as well. That leaves us with Liwa Nuva, Onua Nuva, and Pohatu Nuva, who have all defeated, the 3 of them defeated Raydok 14 times. They defeated him 14 times or so, and he just keeps getting up. They beat him. Every time he gets up, anything they've tried before, he's just immune to it. Raydok has the ability that he can never be beaten by the same tactic twice. So they're constantly having to find some way, and he's just resilient. So he just keeps getting up. He doesn't care. He's like, oh man. He's like, oh, that's all you got, Toa? That's all you got? And so Onua's...
No. Anyway.
Yeah. So Onua is like, all right, guys. He's like, I think we need to just go. He's like, I think we need to run from this one. He's like, we need to save Machu. We need to get this mask. There's no way we can win this fight here. And Liwa Nuva and Pohatu Nuva are like, dude, are you serious? Like, if we leave, they're probably going to kill Kopaka, Gali, and Tahu. And Onua's like, look, man, like, even if they do, saving Matanui is way more important. We've got to prioritize this. And Liwa Nuva and Pohatu Nuva are like, nah, man. He's like, look, we're going to go, and we're going to fight them. And this is it. Like, this is who we are. And so Liwa Nuva goes out, he swings his sword. Raydok catches his sword in his hand, and just snaps it over his knee. He's like, want to try that again? And so Onua Nuva decides to finally, he's like, okay, you know what, teamwork here, work together. They gather up all the other Toa, and even then, like, Liwa Nuva, Pohatu Nuva, they all get beat. Onua Nuva is the only one left, and he decides he's going to just Zerg rush the group of 6 Paraka, and try and just whatever, and they just blast him. And so they're all falling on the ground. All the Toa Nuva have been defeated with what could be described as minimal effort. These big, bad, like, super strong Toa heroes completely just defeated.
So they're just categorically better.
Okay, so one of the things in this instance is that while the Paraka are not categorically better than the Toa Mata, that Paraka have way more intel and history of beating the shit out of Toa and know how Toa typically fights.
So it's a matter of experience versus
It's a
skill.
matter of experience. Also, remember, the Toa, for the most part, the Toa Mata are still pretty amnesiac. They've only been awake and aware after 1,000-year sleep for like 6 months. So they're still kind of getting back into the swing of things. And they more or less got ambushed while they were on the island. They had no idea what the Paraka's powers were or how to deal with them because they just never, in their recollection, experienced anything like it. Yes, Tristan.
So, since you said they fought a lot of Toa before, all that stuff, are we to assume that there are a lot more Toa out there, or that the Proc are just that fucking old?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so at its peak, there are much more different islands and stuff. At its peak, the amount of Toa in the Matoran universe was about 3,000. I want to at the very most. Around the time of the events here, it's about 40. So they are kind of a bit of a dying breed.
But we can make more now. We know
Yeah, we know how they can make more.
You just buy more Bionicle.
You know what I
Make
mean?
more.
Yeah.
It's Toa stones. Do your homework.
I'm sorry.
So this will
Show off.
you know this is all that's happened there. After this they capture the Bohrok-Kal capture the Toa and they're like, what do we do with him, boss? Do we just kill him now? Do we hold on to him? And Zaktan's like, Toa are especially troublesome. We should just kill them. Take their masks, take their tools, bring them back to the stronghold, and after that, throw them in the volcano. I'm like, all right, boss, you got it. Also, I'm not really stating this as much here. All of the Paraka hate each other. They hate each other and will continue to try and kill each other or backstab each other at every single point. In fact, Vizok, the blue one, his canister malfunctioned and started sinking almost halfway on the voyage over because Hakan hates him so much, he malfunctioned his canister.
So the blue one's not a girl?
The blue one is not a girl. It's not a Matoran.
But they all live in fear of
Of the green ones. Of Zaktan. Yes, Zak.
What color are the Matoran?
A wide variety. Their armor color is based on their associated elements. Yes.
Did they make a toy of all the different Matoran?
I mean, technically speaking, you could. They've made several different Matoran builds, and there are enough parts out there that you could technically make a bunch of different types of Matoran. Yes.
Are there ones for like these fucked up looking ones?
Yes, there are. There are for these really messed up ones. And we'll find out why they are like that in just a bit. Because this brings us to the end of book 1, where after all of this, the resistance group does a strike assault onto the Paraka, which goes very poorly. It ends up all of them pretty much either getting beaten up and passing out and escaping, except for Balta, who gets trapped in a cave. And because he runs into a cave, and I think it was Vizok who's just like, instead of chasing the Tora, he's like, I'm just going to seal the cave. I don't have to worry about it. He's like, he's in here somewhere, but if I just seal the cave, he'll just suffocate and die. So I ain't got to worry about it now. And this brings us to the end of book 1, where finally, all the Turaga are like, Matoran, why won't you guys do work? Why won't you guys? And Jala's like, we won't do it until you tell us where the Toa Nuva are. Turaga no Kama comes up to Jala and goes, look, I believe that all beings have the right to know that they're about to die. And Jala's like, oh, wait a minute, what? He's like, here's the rub. The Toa Nuva were sent on a mission to go to this island of Voyanui to get the Mask of Life to save Motunui, who was dying. But it has been several weeks since they have gone. And even Turaga Duma believes that they must have died by this point. There's nothing else we can really do, except for wait. So when the stars go dark and the end comes, at least you know why. And Jala's just like, fuck. And that's the end of book 1. So now we get to book 2, Dark Destiny, where it starts off with the Toa are being carried up the volcano mountain, and they're going to be thrown in. They're unconscious and stuff. But, one other cool... So all of the Paraka have different abilities that I forgot to mention. They all have a different special ability, and they all have a different special, eye-beam thing. So Zaktan has the ability that he can turn his body into trillions of little tiny, almost insects that are called prototypes, and then reform himself and whatever. Also, he has laser eye vision. All the proc have heat vision, but he also has laser eye vision. Thok, the ice one, has spellbinder vision, which is more or less like just disorienting people and makes them lose their motor function a little bit. And he can bring inanimate objects to life. Hakan has impact vision, or no, he has mental attack, so he can attack his opponent just like mentally and just attack their psyche. And he has impact or vision, I think it is, or something, where he can like lava melt stuff. I don't remember. Vizok, the blue one, has the ability of being able to temporarily absorb the the aspects of any attack that Vizok is hit by, and then turn that and use that attack back. Also, Master Thief Vizok, really good, has some kind of other destruction vision where he can just look at something and it explodes. Avok, who is the brown one, is really good at making weapons and stuff, and can make prisons, and can specifically make prisons specifically for anyone. He's specifically trained to do that for any circumstance. And also has, I believe, telescopic and X-ray vision. And then, Radok, the black one, can never be beat the same way twice. He just has an innate trait where he can learn to never be beaten the same way twice in a row, and has thermal imaging and I think X-ray vision or something like that. So they're going up this mountain here. Because one of the things they did before, when they were trying to get the Matoran to work with them, is Thok and Hakan were working around a bunch of Matoran, and all of a sudden a giant lava golem comes up out of the volcano, starts trying to fight them, and they completely destroy and beat the absolute hell out of it, and all the Matoran are like, yay, the Toa saved us, or whatever. And then the Resistance members find out later that they had made that golem a fire to kind of just win them over. But anyway, so they're carrying these Toa up the mountain, and they're going to throw them into the volcano. And all of a sudden, by chance, the volcano starts erupting, because it is a very, very, very active volcano. So they just ditch the Toa. They're like, dude, whatever, we don't get paid enough for this. So they just drop the Toa. Pohatu Nuva wakes up and shields them in some domes of rock and starts making rows of rock for them as they're running away trying to escape. And they're just trying to get out of there. The Paraka all go one way. You know, they're here, they're making up walls of rock, and the Toa manage to escape. They don't have their masks or their weapons still. Meanwhile, the Resistance team is thinking that they're going to plan a siege on the Paraka stronghold, even though Balta hasn't come back yet. They don't know where he is. But as they do this, they see the Toa Nuva up on this area in the woods where they're hiding out at, and they decide that they're like, oh, what are those? It's like they can't. It's like and so they start debating. They're like, are those actual Toa? Maybe it's like, well, where are their masks? They don't have masks. Toa have masks. Where are their masks? Because the masks got stolen. And they're like, well, let's go and see what out. And they're like, no, I don't. It's like, what if they're criminals and stuff like these Paraka dudes? They're like, and Velika goes and says something like, well, basically does a makes some riddle, and Kazi's like, I don't understand what that means. What does that mean? And they're like, he said, more or less, that if it looks like there's like that best case scenario, they're like, in the worst case scenario, they aren't Toa, and we bang them up. And the other scenario is they are actually Toa, and we bang them up, and then we apologize for it later. So they go out, and they start attacking the Toa. And the Toa are like, whoa, hello, guys. Hey, we're Toa Nuva. We are Toa here, Nuva here. We're sent here. And they're like, what is a Toa Nuva? What even is a Toa Nuva? Okay, you guys are lying, whatever. Toa Gali starts, trying to shield him, whatever. Dalu comes up and hits her like Sonic Force together and expands Toa Gali's eyesight so much she can see past the universe and starts having like an absolute mental breakdown. She's like, everything's so wonderful and beautiful. Oh, what's going on? And then she is just freaking out, man. And she just starts running off. And they're like, whoa, where are you going? And so they're out of stamina because they're not trying to hurt the Matoran, but they're like, this is getting really bad, man. Like, we need to figure out what to do. All of a sudden, Balta, who had been trapped in the cave before, starts running up to them. He's like, guys, wait. You're about to make a huge mistake. those guys are here to help. And they're like, Balto, where were you? He's like, I was trapped in a cave. I'm like, how did you get out? This giant axe man came out to help me. Like, giant axe man? It's like, we've lived on this island as long as possible. I've never seen any giant axe man. It's like, yeah, well, this giant axe man came help, and this is that same giant axe man right here.
Oh,
And
I should have had that one.
Hell yeah. And his name is Axon.
His name isn't Chad?
Dude, no. This is,
His actual name is
his
Axon.
name is Axon. Axonn.
The one with the sword is axe off.
No. This is the virgin Axon, and this is the Chad Brutaka. I'm dead ass. I'm about to explain all that.
Alright.
So the Axeman shows up, Axon, and he told them that, hey, there's these villagers, there's these guys that showed up on the island, they are Toa. Your friends are about to attack them. You need to stop this happening. So Balta comes up, he's like, hey guys, stop. Listen, we all just need to chill. Everybody needs to put their stuff down, and we'll talk together. We can make this work. And so they're like, okay, cool. Gali Nuva is still just running off in hysterics, having a mind-bending trip into, like, sub-reality. And she sees Axon. Axon shows up, and she just is like, ugh! And like just runs out and tries to attack him, and he just puts his hand on her head and goes, no. And then uses his mask of truth. He wears, the mask he wears is the mask of truth. The way the mask works is that wearing the mask allows you to perceive all truths. You can tell if somebody is lying to you, but you can see the truth behind it. But for example, if somebody tells you a lie, but they do not know that is a lie, they believe that is the truth, you see that as the truth as well. Brutaka also has the ability to impart the truth onto others. And goes, hey, golly, the world, you can't actually see that far into existence and stuff. And she's like, oh wait, I can't. And returns to normal. Is able to heal her, and she passes out. Yeah, so they get her up and they go, okay, here's the thing. It's yes, Chris?
I was gonna say, can I just point out what a stupid name for such a kick-ass mask?
I
think he's like, oh, the mask of truth. No, man, make that the mask of chivalry or some shit. Cause that.
Dude, no, Axon is like the big chivalry boy.
Yeah.
Axon is the big chivalry boy. Because Axon has been living on this island the entire time. He has been stationed on this island the entire time, along with another guy we're about to meet named Brutaka. And they were supposed to be the first line of defense for the Mask of Life, as well as just generally protecting the Matoran, even though they never saw them. Brutaka is a super big, buff, mega strong boy whose mind is completely shielded from telepathy. He's such a big, doodly Chad who believes
He's Juggernaut. Nice
he's like, Matanui, our Lord and Savior, is gonna help everyone.
And he wears
But
the
you call
mask
him
of
virgin,
kisses.
man.
Because we haven't talked about the Chad Brutaka yet.
Why can't it just be Chad and Super Chad?
That's a disservice to the power difference between the two.
Alright,
So
fine.
Fine. Just trust me. So, meanwhile, back in the Paraka lair is Brutaka, a big boy, Chad, huge dude. He's 12 foot tall. Axon is right now, Axon is 8 foot tall. Most of the tall are about 6 foot tall. Brutaka is 12 foot tall.
So they're not to scale.
They're not exactly to scale, no. I have to see how it scales out, but you do something there. Toagali, comparatively to Axon, is goes up to his hips.
Oh, and I was looking at Brutaka. I guess it's actually not too far off.
And also, Brutaka is an angle. He is Brutaka is
Oh my god, it's actually not that far off.
yeah, so you can kind of scale it to that.
Okay.
So, talking to Brutaka, Zaptan is talking to Brutaka alongside this giant pool of green liquid in a vial, which they've been using to fill these Zamor spheres. And he's chit-chatting, and some of the other Paraka come in, they're like, hey, Zaptan, who's your friend there? He's like, don't worry about it. My new friend here is going to help us find the Mask of Life. So you don't need to worry about it. Now go out there and start. He's also like, what did you do with the Toa? He's like, oh, we dropped them. He's like, what do you mean you dropped them, boys? I was like, well, the volcano erupted, and what did you want us to do? He's like, I wanted you to kill the Toa. He's like, we could have died. He was like, and then I would have less incompetent people to work with. Yes, Jason.
Fewer.
Fewer. They're like, well, what's the deal with the Matoran? He's like, well, a bunch of them died in the magma. So we're working with us. Like, well, I suggest you guys go out there and deal with it. Also, we need to figure out this Toa thing. And Avok is like, oh yeah, well here's the thing. I mean, I'm pretty sure the Toa, died in the lava fire. And Zaktan looks at him and goes, you're pretty sure. You're pretty sure the Toa died when the mountain. How sure are you, Avok? Are you as sure as when you said that our 7th member wouldn't come here as well, and we found his canister, and he starts like shifting his body into all these trillions of prototypes that are just swarming Avok and suffocating him, and like crawling down his throat and like into his body, and he is just like struggling. There's nothing he can do. He's like, and then he just retracts all this stuff, and he's like, Avok, I'm gonna use that as a warning. Don't be sure. Be effective. And he's like, yeah, sure, no problem, boss. And they leave. So Avok, Thok, Hakan, they all start going towards the volcano because they're going to go try and dig stuff or whatever. And they're like, I don't like that new guy that Zaktan's working with. They're like, if he's got a big new guy like that, and he can help him get the Mask of Life, then he's not going to need us. So he's going to betray us unless we betray him first. Here's what we do. So they start tailing Brutaka as he's walking around. And Brutaka is like, doesn't pay any mind to them. And they jump out and try to talk, and Brutaka just bitch slaps them out of the air. He's like, what do you pests want? He's like, I knew you were following me. He's like, look, man, like, listen. What's your deal with Zaktan? He's like, I work with Zaktan because he provides me stuff from that big green vial. And that is the reason I work with him. Now, if somebody else was to have possession of that, then I would be inclined to work with them as well. But I will not betray Zaktan so long as he has the green vial juice. And all of the Paraka understand this as he is telling them that he doesn't care if they betray each other. He only cares about getting that weird green super juice that makes him super roided up. Yes.
So basically, his real name's Kyle, and that green juice.
Yeah. Kyle Taka.
And anyone who gets in his way is his fucking step.
Oh, it really is. Yes.
Is this not the same juice that is like brainwashing the Matoran?
Yes, it's the same juice that's brainwashing.
But it affects him different.
But it affects him different because when Brutaka takes in this juice, which is called antidermis, it supercharges him. Because we have protodermis, now we got antidermis. And so the Paraka all start coming up with a plan that they're going to fight Zaktan. So at this time, Jala is like, all right, boys, is back on the island of Montanui. He's like, hey, guys. So this is what he gathers up Holly, Kongu. So Holly, the current chronicler, Gamatoran. Kongu, leader of the Gukko Force. Nuparu, the engineer, Onamatoran. Huki, #1 top best star athlete boy from Pokoro, and Matoro. And he gathers them all together and goes, all right, guys, we need to go and save the Toa Nuva. And they're like, what are you talking about? We're Matoran. He's like, yeah. And a Matoran became the Toa of Light. And Matoran have done so much. They're like, we can't keep living this existence of Matoran just being useless. We can Matoran gang. So they decide that they're going to go out, and they're like, well, what about Takanuva? And Takanuva's like, yeah, I'm here too. I'll help you guys. Let's go on an adventure. I don't want to be stuck here. We need to go save the Toa Nuva. We don't want the universe to die. Yes.
Oh.
Okay. So they all start leaving, and they're like, well, how are we going to get out of here? And they're like, all right, so I found this, it's like, we're just going to take a boat and go out. So they start traveling out. And they wind up in this they come to a point where they're on this weird, they make their way on a ship to this weird island, and there's like a whole bunch of different masks and weird stuff. And Kongu even picks up one of these masks and he goes, this is a weird looking mask. I've never seen one of these before. And I wonder what it does. So Takanuva takes off his mask of light, puts this mask on, and he can start hearing everyone's thoughts. And this is the Kanohi Sulete, the mask of telepathy. And he's like, oh, cool. He's like, so this is a great Kanohi mask because I think Kongu put it on. And he's like, oh, that's a great one. I can feel its power, but I can't use it. And he was like, cool, yeah, what's a great Kanohi mask doing here? And Jala's like, what are the chances that the previous owner of that mask is somewhere beneath her feet right now? And they're all kind of like, yikes. Wow, this is sure got really creepy on a really creepy island really fast. wow, this is weird. Well, let's keep going. So they start continuing to walk. Yes,
They
Jason.
kept the mask, right?
Yes,
Good.
Congo did keep the mask.
Oh, wait, you can't use it.
You can't use it, but I mean, they're all together.
But Takanuva should have it.
Takanuva has his mask of light. He's kind of leading the vanguard right now. He can get it off if he needs to. Yes, Chris.
Sorry, this is kind of I don't know if we've talked about this or gone into it because I don't remember. But they've gone into the fact that one, Bionicle and these Lego people can actually like suffocate.
Yes.
Now we have one that can consume actual stuff that gives them energy, like kind of like food. Is there like an anatomy for the Bionicles? Do they bleed? Because if they can't breathe, that means they have lungs.
Yes. Okay. So we did go over this briefly in the first part. The beings in the Matoran universe generally have protodermic muscle tissue that makes up their general muscle and some skin underneath their exoskeletal like armor that sits above that. They do not have a heart. They have like a power reactor, and they have a heart light that indicates like their status or whatever. They do, however, have lungs, and I believe a brain and some other various organs to that degree.
Okay.
But they're predominantly like 85% mechanical and 15% bioorganic.
Okay. Yeah, because that was confusing.
A note on that is they can eat organic life or drink water to sustain themselves to keep their heart reactor and stuff going. Though later on we learn in Metro Nui is like they can just go to like a power plant and just supercharge up there and charge up the battery that way.
I mean, if you live in a fucking city instead of like a small tribe in the jungle.
Exactly.
But-
Exactly.
But if you're organic, I mean, like, even I understand it's like a cartoon and stuff, but like when Dark Boy got time zapped or whatever, like I would think that any organic piece of material, besides like the machine piece, I understand, but any organic piece of material, I think would just deteriorate to. a point
So
where-
protodermic organic material is infinitely stronger than like carbon-based organic material, and like this is where we start getting into like the because up until this point we haven't been really introduced to like what are the expected lifespans of everything, and it's like we already know that the time between the Toa Metru becoming Turaga and the current up there is like 1,000 years and 6 months. So we know that like thousands of years just generally seem to be like no issue. At least it seems like it, because you know the Matoran have existed at least longer than that. And the Matoran, even when they're put in stasis, they don't seem to be decrepit or anything. So they do have like it's a long period that they can go on without getting too far. Like we'll talk more about timeline wise going forward, but for right now I don't want to give too much away.
Okay.
So they finally come up to a point where there's this dark barrier, and one of them goes through it, and then or Takanuva tries to go through it, but he can't. He's like it reflects him from going inside this barrier. He just can't get through. So then, one by one, the Matorans start to try and walk in, and they step inside this darkness, and no. So they actually do all manage to get into the barrier. Takanuva too, but he realizes that his mask of light should be shining light enough that everyone can see, but there's nothing. It's pitch black. Nobody can see anything. Matoran pull out light stones, and they light up for a moment, and then they're completely gone. And then they get to this end part, and as they're walking, Matoro is like everyone's holding hands. And Matoro's like at the tail end, and Matoro feels a hand reach up, and he grabs that hand. He has no idea who it is, and he's just walking with them. And they finally get to the end of the barrier, and Takanuva cannot exit on the other side. For some reason, he just can't get through, and they're like, I guess this is where our journey ends. And Jala and all them walk onto the other side, including. I'm trying to remember how the entrance exits work or whatever, but eventually Takanuva's like, I guess, he's like, man, this is so disappointing. He's like, I might never see you guys again. I can't even give you guys fist bumps or anything. And Jala and them are like, nope, we'll see you again. We'll be back. We promise. And Takanuva heads back the way he came. They all exit the the dark void. And as Matoro is walking out, he is still holding the hand of someone, and he sees all the other Matoran that came with him in front of him. But when he goes to look back, there's no hand there anymore. There's nothing behind him. And he just walks out, and they're like, hey, Matoro, are you okay? He's like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm not fine. That was really weird. So they get onto the other side, and there's this giant, dark, gloomy island, and all these pillars of rocks everywhere. And then as they start walking, they see some Matoran that look horribly damaged, like with mangled limbs. They all look gaunt in the eyes. They're all horribly just misshapen, and they look exhausted, but they don't say anything to them. So the Matoran just keep on walking. They're like, this is sure weird. As they progress through, they suddenly see these giant Monas crabs, the big crabs from before. And they're like, that's really weird. Monas crabs, I thought the Toa said there was only 2 of them in Makuta's lair. It's like, there's more Monas crabs here, so I guess we keep walking. So they keep walking. Monas crabs kind of pulling in from behind, preventing their exit, until they finally come up into a large pit of Matoran working and toiling away and digging and stuff. And they're like, what is this place? And a giant green being, it looks like his mask is made up of 4 different masks. And he comes up and he goes, welcome to my realm. It has been thousands of years since Matoran have been sent here. But now that they have been sent here, we can get things going again. And they're like, what? And they're like, what are you talking? He's like, yes, Matoran, you won't be leaving anytime soon. More than welcome to try. The Monas crabs are, effective at preventing Matoran from leaving. It's the problem is when they get them in the claws. That's the issue. And they're like, well, listen, man, we gotta go. We gotta go to this Toa Nuva thing. We gotta save Matanui. And they're like, Matanui, what is that? I don't even know what a Matanui is. They're like, I do not know what Matanui is. The Great Spirit. He's like, listen, Matoran, I've existed here longer than anything. Originally, in the beginning, there were only 2 beings. There was my brother and I. My brother won a competition, led to a realm where he would make things, and I was here to repair them. My name is Karzani, and this is my realm of Karzani. Karzani is a real place. Karzani is a real place in the Matoran universe, and he has also confirmed that Artaka, his brother, Artaka is a real place as well. They never talked about that there were beings there named after them. They just talked of realms, because the Matoran are like, wait, you're talking about the Karzani, the fabled nightmare hell realm where bad Matoran or damaged Matoran get sent to get fixed or whatever. He's like, yeah, that's my place right here, and you're gonna stay here and do more labor and stuff for me.
And they got there from Metronui?
Yeah, they traveled by a little boat, and they just wound up there.
Okay.
And so, time check.
It is 2.5 minutes.
Okay, so I'm gonna try and wrap this up as quick as I can for this point here. So they're like, okay, well, we're not gonna stay here, and he's like, Karzani wears the mask of alternate futures. And goes, okay, little Matoran, let's see how strong you are. And grabs Jala and starts showing him an alternate future where Jala never threw himself in front of the Rockchi staff to save Takua. Takua then died instead. Takanuvak never came to be. Makuta came out, defeated the Toa with the Rockchi, and everyone was imprisoned for an entire lifetime, and Matanui ended up just dying there. And Jala lives all of that in a moment. And everyone around him saw that vision too, including Karzani. Karzani's ability to show other people alternate dimensions shows them their deepest fears, or whatever, but he also experiences them, which makes him kind of fucking crazy. And immediately sets up all the Matoran to start doing work, except for Holly, who goes, well, I'm a chronicler, and he's like, all right, chronicler, I hear you're the one that does stories, so start telling me all the stories of your land, and drags Holly off. While the Matoran are stuck there, the Toa Nuva and the, Matoran on Voya Nui start to prepare for an attack on the Proc stronghold, and the Proc are ready to betray Zaktan. And that's where we will end for today.
Did they make it toward the mask?
Yes, they did!
Ah!